Hi guys, it's Ari. I'm going to show you how to make a sewing board today. You want to see what it looks like? This is our sewing board. Now the purpose of making any projects that I want to show you guys is, I know that we're all stuck inside. I know that we only have a limited amount of materials that we can use. So for this project, if you don't have one of these plastic sewing needles, which by the way you can buy on Amazon, I will link below for you, you just need a Q-tip. And your Q-tip will act as your needle. A little bit about me. I teach sewing to kids of all ages, and I do a lot of art projects as well, so I have a lot of really fun ideas. But the thing I love the most about this sewing board that we're going to be making today is that your kids might be stuck at home, you want to give them something to do. They'll have fun making this, and they'll be able to decorate it however they want to. But then once they're done making it, they will be able to learn how and to practice hand sewing, which is great because they can do it every day, practice for a few minutes every day, and then eventually they can move on to a real needle and thread, and then they'll know how to hand sew. So this is actually amazing for being stuck inside. You will need 2 pieces of construction paper, whatever colors you choose, 1 Q-tip or 1 large plastic sewing needle, your choice, both work totally fine. Also, any kind of glue that you have laying around the house. Elmer's liquid glue, a glue gun, or a glue stick is totally fine. You'll also need embroidery thread, or really any string that you have laying around the house is fine. Also, you'll need a hole punch and anything else that you'd like to use to decorate this. And that's it. That's all you'll need. Step 1. Take 2 pieces of construction paper and glue them together. I'm going to use pink construction paper and blue construction paper. And I think for this I'll use my liquid Elmer's glue, but you can use whatever glue you'd like. All you do is you glue the 2 pieces of paper together so that when you're done, it's going to look like this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put little dots all the way around, but not quite on the very edge because that's where we're going to hole punch. Like this. Then I'm just going to put them together. We have our 2 pieces glued together. All right. So I think that probably the best thing to do once they're glued is wait maybe 5 minutes so that you know that the glue's dried enough. The next step is going to be basically to hole punch all the way around our paper. So I have my hole punch here. Make sure you have a little trash can near you so you can hole punch all the little extra pieces directly into there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hole punch, and I'm going to go as far in as I can, and I'm going to start hole punching as evenly as possible around the whole piece of paper. I'm going to give enough space so that when your child sews this, or when you go to use this to sew, they're not so close together that it's a small stitch, but they're not too far apart that it's going to be a huge stitch. So I would say 1 finger width apart. Once you have your holes all the way around, then you're going to want to go on the outer edge and poke new holes close to the edge in enough that you're not going to be making a hole on the edge of the paper. Does that make sense? Like this. You want it to be relatively parallel to the holes you already made, because this is what you're going to use if you want to make your X stitches. Okay. Now you have holes all over the edges, perfect for any stitch you want. The next step is going to be taking your string or your embroidery thread and cutting it to the length you want. Now, I think ideally, if you can, the longer the thread or the longer the string, the better. We don't want it to be crazy long because then it is going to get tangled easily. So I am using embroidery thread, so I'm just going to basically use this whole thing, but if you're cutting string off of a roll, honestly, I think 50 inches is perfect. When I say 50 inches, I mean doubled. So I've got the ends right here. Go ahead and make sure to smooth out your string so that it's not tangled. Okay. If you're using a needle, it's really easy. Of course, all you do is you're going to take your needle and you're going to take your thread and you're going to thread it all the way down so that it's on your thread, and then you're going to have the ends ready to go. So what you're going to do is, if you want to connect your Q-tip instead of a needle, you're going to take this loop at the end here, okay, and you're going to basically take your Q-tip and you're going to loop the ends of your thread or your string, okay, through the little opening like this, so that it's like this. Does that make sense? Okay, and then just to make sure that it's secure, I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to do another knot through. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to do a regular knot. Okay, so I'm just going to go like this. Just a regular knot on my string, but if I were to pull it like this, it would be in the wrong place. So I'm going to put my fingers through, grab the end of it, hold it, and then pull so that it gets as close to the end as possible. This wasn't really as close as I wanted it to be, but it'll be okay. So now, this isn't going anywhere, right? This is stable. So you have your needle, and now all you have to do is connect your needle and thread to your sewing board. Easy peasy. You're going to take your sewing board and you're going to just pick a corner, doesn't matter what corner, and you're going to thread the string or the needle through. Okay, and you're honestly just going to tie it. So I threaded it through one corner. Now I'm going to do a knot. Then I'm going to double knot it. Depends on how slippery your string is. Honestly, if your string isn't very slippery, this is fine. 2 knots is good for me. It's not going anywhere. So once you have your knot done, like this, I'm just going to trim off this little extra thread. I don't need it. It'll look much better. So now we're at the point where we have our sewing board, holes are cut out, we've got our needle, we've got our thread, it's attached. Honestly, we're good to go. We can just start hand sewing. But this is the point where your child can decorate this however they want. We could do stickers, we could do glitter, we could draw something on it, you could even label it. Ari's sewing board. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start sewing. We have our edge stitch, which you're gonna go in, pull, have your child very slowly pull through so that the thread or string does not get caught, which it might. You just have to carefully untangle. Okay, here we go again for another edge stitch. We're gonna go through, we're gonna pull. Okay, another edge stitch. All right, straight stitch. We're gonna go through, through again, in and out, as opposed to around. See if it gets caught, which it will. Just carefully untangle as you go. Pull slowly. Straight stitch. Let me show you from the side. You're gonna go in and out, so you're gonna go in and out, untangle, and it's gonna be easier when you're not doing it on camera like me. So it's gonna be easier to go in and out. And if your kids get frustrated, slow down, take a deep breath, untangle any thread that gets tangled, and keep trying. Now, edge stitch, straight stitch, okay, blanket stitch. You're gonna go through towards you, okay. You're gonna take your thread, and you're gonna go around. So you're gonna take that thread and bring it towards the thread that is already there, right? We're not gonna take the thread and go around this way. That doesn't make sense because our thread's coming from this direction. So we're gonna take our thread from whatever direction the thread is coming from and head towards the thread. So our thread's coming from this direction, so we're gonna go towards it, and we're gonna pull. We're gonna keep pulling. Beautiful. Does that make sense? So we're gonna go through. Where is our thread coming from? From this side, right? So we're gonna loop it this way and pull. And then we have our X stitch, which is also really fun. And this you can either go out or you could go in, up to you. I'm gonna go out since I'm on the corner here. There. So now I'm gonna go in. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in again. And then I'm gonna go in one more time. My X. Let's try again. So we're gonna take our needle, and go through. Okay, then we're gonna go up. Then we're gonna go through again. And we're gonna go through one more time. And if you look at the back, looks a little crazy, right? Doesn't matter, because this is the side that we're using. This is the side that's going to be shown to the world if you were to be stitching this on a pillow or a garment or anything. So, this is how you make a sewing board. Good luck, have fun, and be creative. I can't wait to do another project with you again soon. Thanks. Bye.